Hi everyone, first of all sorry I'm a bit croaky, I'm not feeling very well today, but I should get through this video no problem. I just want to show you how to construct my filament box. As you can see, I've got all mine in a nice, lovely, colourful, organised situation along with the stands. So I just want to go through how you actually do that. It should be quite straightforward, especially if you've got a 3D printer and you've already been tinkering around with things. As you can see, it looks much better than the boxes and the actual bags that you can get, which actually take all the air out. Nothing wrong with those, it's just I like the look of these. So you can see I've used different colours for the types of filament. So ASA, I've gone for white. TPU, I've gone for yellow. We've got PTG, I've gone for magenta. Right at the end here we've got the PLA, different types of PLA, so metallic, wood, things like that. Now PLA basic, I've gone for black. I did actually start printing these with PTG, but Bambu Lab went out of stock. You can see they mostly look the same, it's just the PTG is a bit shinier. That's all it is really. And I printed all of the stands in PLA basic as well. So this video will show you if you want to use those you can, and that's pretty much it really. You can see that there's one missing. I just need to do one more ASA box. I thought I'd leave that to last so I can do a video on how to do it. So let's see how it's all done. Okay, so before I started I thought it would be a good idea to give a shout out to these three models I've got on these tabs here. This is where I got some of the inspiration from, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone got credit where credit was due. So here's the first one. This is where I originally started and got the idea from. So this is the filament spool storage box by Bambu. He wasn't able to make exactly what I needed, so I thought why not just design it from the ground up, and that's what I did. I did it from the ground up, but the idea was based on this. So if you need this kind of filament box, that's great, go for this one instead. And I thought, well, why not have it so we don't need any screws, so we don't need to buy anything extra. This is where I discovered the latches. These Uno boxes are brilliant, by the way, got loads of them, pretty much printed every single type you can think of. We love playing Uno. This keeps them nice and tidy, so please print some of these if you've got Uno, if you like playing it. If you don't play it, it's great, just go for it, see if you like it. But these latches are actually from this parametric model from Hugo. These are the ones that I use to sort of reshape them, you know, change the size, things like that. They're pretty much the same as the ones from the Uno box, same size, except I've made three different versions. So there's a normal one, there's a tighter version, and the tightest version, depending on how tight you want the seal to be. So that's this model, and if you bring them all together you get my filament box. So hopefully I've give credit where credit is due there. None of the ideas are my original idea obviously, but I like to think that I've made something a bit more improved, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. Okay, so first thing to do is open up File in Bambu Studio. So the one you need is the filament box with the lid, containers, latches and stand. So basically there's two files. One's got the labels in, one has got everything else, and this is the everything else file that you need. If we start from the top left, there's 7 plates in total. Let me just go through them each one at a time just to show you what they are. So the first one is just the lid. Now there's only one type of lid, so for every box you'll need one of these. That's it really. I recommend printing it in PTG, something pretty strong, but I've had no issues with printing it in PLA basic, no issues so far anyway. There's 3 types of containers, so that's plates 2, 3 and 4. So you've got first of all the basic container. This hasn't got the hydrometer hole in there or the PTFE hole in. The container with hydro, this has got a hydrometer hole. So you put a seal around there and pop in a hydrometer. I'll link into the one that fits perfectly in there. And then the third one is the container with hydro and the PTFE adapter hole. So you've got the hydrometer here and you've got the PTFE hole here. Now this is for a 10mm PTFE adapter if you wanted to feed the filament directly out of the box, because it will rotate on this central column here. Latches, now you'll need 4 latches for each lid, so you need at least 4 to print. There's 3 different types. I've coloured them separately here. If you go to the objects browser, you'll see the green one is the normal latch. So that's if you wanted it to be a bit looser. It can depend on the type of plastic, so just might be worth just printing a few of them just to test. The yellow ones are the tighter ones. You can see here by the name, they're midway in between. There's only about 0.5mm difference between all of them really. It's just, it does make a lot of difference for the tightness of the lid. And then, but what I've been using is the tightest ones. I recommend just going with these, and if they are too tight, try the other ones. You may as well print loads of these. If you're going to be printing loads of boxes, just fill the plate with these and print a whole load of them. These are optional. The stands, if you've got a flat surface that you want to put them on, and you've just seen my setup, I've got a stand for every single box. They do fit on really nicely, especially if you colour them nicely, and it looks really, really good. And you can connect them together, which I'll show you later with these little holes here. We just use a bit of filament between them. Easy to print, they don't take long, but again, optional if you've got another shelf, if you use the double poles to mount your filament boxes to stop them rolling away. They won't actually roll away, it's just that you can't really see the labels and the hydrometer at the same time if you don't use a stand. Lastly, on this plate, this is basically just a test plate, a bit of optional stuff. So if you didn't want to spend 6.5 hours printing one of the containers and then finding out you've done it in the wrong material or something like that, just print one of each of these. It's like a slice of cake, I suppose, for the filament, and you can just do a test. If you didn't know whether you wanted the PTFE hole, you could print these anyway and then print one of the plugs so you can plug up the hole to stop the moisture getting in there. Yep, so you can use that. And the last one on here are the spacers. These are for putting over the filament which comes out of the stands here. It's just in case you want to space them a little more. I've found that because the lids don't close fully tight, they are a little bit wider than the stands, and it sort of mounts up over the boxes if you've got a lot of them. They are totally optional. You'll see if you need them or not later, so I wouldn't print any of them yet. So for now, just print a load of the latches, or as many as you think you might need. If you're only doing one box, just print 4. Print a lid, pretty straightforward, and then print one of these 3 containers depending on what your preference is. So either the normal container, the one with the hydrometer, or the one with the hydrometer and the PTFE adapter hole. So just print those for now and we'll see how it all fits together. Okay, let's start with the lid. Hopefully you can hear me alright over this printer that's printing away in the background, and it's wobbling the desk as well, so hopefully you still can be able to hear me and see the video okay. So what we need, lid's dead straightforward. Printed it in white so you can see the seal that we're going to be using soon. If you printed millions of these latches like I have, all you need to do is get 4 of them, and how you actually put them in is make sure it's facing the right way. So you want to have the latch this way around, and inside, hopefully you can see this, if you just tilt it like this and then twist it and then just leave it out like this. So that's 1, 2, oh, wrong way around, 3, 4. Simple as that. Then they should click down like that. But if we leave them open for now so we can actually put it on the container. That's the lid sorted. That's all you need to do with that. No seals required. You can see there's a little groove that goes around which pushes into the seal. So that's it. Next we need the actual container. So this is one with just a hydro, but I will show you how to use the PTFE adapter as well. So the first thing you need to do, this is on every one, doesn't matter which type you've actually printed, we need to put the seal around the edge here. So for that you need some 2.5mm rubber tubing. You can see I've got quite a lot of it. I bought about 40 meters of this stuff because I knew I was going to print a lot of cases. So if you get your snips ready, the best thing to do, I always start by the hydrometer. I don't know why, but you can start wherever you want. I tend to go this way around, and what I will do is make sure that the end is flat. It just makes a bit more of a more nice connection when you come all the way around. All you need to do is just tappy 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 all the way around. Try not to stretch or twist it too much, and just try and let it lie naturally and push it in. Now this shouldn't come out when it's gone in. You may find, I've seen that it's popped out a couple of times. If it does happen all the time, you know, a bit of a sealant or something like that, stop it from falling out. And then all you need to do is just snip it where they meet together. So that's going to be about there, and then push it in. So there shouldn't be anything that overlaps in, it shouldn't be too squashed together. So that's perfect. You can test the lid if you want to now, but don't need till later really. Doesn't matter where it goes on for now. Now to close them, especially when you've just put the seal in, it may not close properly. So what you need to do is just squeeze them together, clip, squeeze, clip, squeeze, clip, squeeze, clip, and there we go. Nice tight seal all the way around. Obviously we haven't got the hydrometer in there yet, but we can do that now. What I recommend is taking the lid off before you do the hydrometer. Much easier to install the hydrometer without the lid on. A lesson I've learned. So for the hydrometer, these are the types I'll link in the description and wherever you need to. So these will fit in nicely in here. Now you can do it without the seal, but I don't recommend it. It does work much better with the seal. Now the seal for the hydrometer isn't the same diameter as the seal for the actual case. The seal for the case is 2.5 mil in diameter. The seal for the hydrometer is 2 mil in diameter. Now it is important you use 2 mil, otherwise it won't fit quite in this groove here. 2.5 mil is just too big, so it should fit nice and snug after we've done that. So let's get the 2 mil tubing. Again, I've got tons of this. I probably didn't need this much because you don't actually need a lot. Now what I do, start off on this side, don't stretch it, just put it all the way around. Try not to stretch it as much as possible, and then when you've got there, it doesn't have to be totally accurate. I find that I'm always making it a bit too long, but if you just snip it there, we go, and then hold it in place, move it around. That's not bad, that isn't bad at all. So if you just hold it in that corner. Now just have a look at the actual container. This is the way I have mine around on the shelf. So, oh no, it's not. I apologise, it's the other way around. This is the way I have mine on the shelf. So the hydrometer sits at the top, and I have my labels underneath. If you're not planning on using the labels, it probably doesn't matter which way around you're going to do this. But I have mine at the top. So it obviously, if you're going to have the hydrometer at the top, it needs to face this way around. If you've got a hydrometer at the bottom, it needs to face this way around, otherwise it'll be upside down. So what I do is just put my fingers behind, start pushing it in slightly, just bit at a time, and try and do the bit that you're holding on to, so the actual seal doesn't pop out, and then squash it down nicely. Now it shouldn't really pop out like this. What I do, you get hold of a bit of a screwdriver, push it up slightly from behind, and just push in the seal so it actually sits in the groove. Sorry you couldn't see that, could you? Just push in the seal so you can see it there. Maybe pop it out slightly, and as soon as it's in, just squash it down. And I don't know if you can see that, but where the seal meets, where the joint is, sometimes if you just push it into each other, so it just creates a bit of a better seal, so no way I can get in there. The rest of it seems okay. I'd just like to push this bit in a little bit. There we go. That's better. Yeah, you can see it shouldn't, the seal shouldn't overlap. You shouldn't be able to see the seal, I should say, from the front. So if you can't see any of it from the front dead on, then it's probably okay. And squash that down. I put quite a few of these in, so it's not too bad. It can be tricky when you do it for the first couple of times. You'll probably keeping letting go of the actual seal. Oh, that's another thing. Try and make sure it's as level as possible before you start pushing it in, because once it's pushed in slightly, it's very tricky to turn around. So just be careful of that. Okay, and that's it. So you can put the lid back on if you want to and test it. Let's do that together. So if you're not planning on using the labels, you can just you can literally put this on anywhere you want, but what you should do is find the other set of labels on a lid so you can put them together. So there we go. Tricky. Okay, there we go. Squeeze, clip, squeeze, clip, squeeze, clip, squeeze, clip. There we go. And you should find your hydrometer sitting nicely. So I'll show you how to do the labels next if you do need to use the labels. One thing I did forget to mention is I printed these clips in PLA. I haven't had any trouble with them so far, but it is quite a soft material, as you probably know, so maybe PETG would have been a better choice for printing those things, maybe a bit harder plastic. But you can see the seal's pretty good. These are the tightest ones I've printed. The seal's pretty good here. You shouldn't have any problems with them. I've been using them for a few weeks now. They do tend to get a bit loose after a while, so it is a lot easier to close after a while, but I don't think you'll have any trouble with PLA Basic. But if you want to try different materials, go for it. If you want to stay with me, I can show you how to do the labels and then the stand afterwards. Okay, so on to the labels. This is the trickiest part, at least the most confusing part for me. Now, a few weeks ago, this version updated of Bambu Studio, and the text now behaves in a different way. Let me show you what I'm talking about in a second, but first of all, open this labels file. I'll just show you what version I'm on. So we're on 22256. Like I say, the behavior changed of these text labels. So let me just show you what to do. So we need to do ASA blue. So what you need to do is just figure out which label you need. I need this one with ASA on, and the colour one. Now you can use the multiple line ones, or if one of them says something that you already need, like PLA or PLA Basic. And some of the colour names are quite lengthy, so you might want to put them on 2 lines. I've done that for a couple of mine. Other than that, just get rid of the ones that you don't need. So just delete them, delete. Need that one. Control, so not control, I always get those mixed up. So it's Shift and A. That will align them for you. Auto arrange. If you go to Objects, and then click on the one that you need. So this one needs to be blue for us. It's with the colours you can choose. Well, in fact, let's sort the colours out first. So I need to do ASA, just change the colour to blue. So what I like to do is have the background the colour of the filament. So it's up to you which way around you do it, or if you do something totally different. I like to have, so in this case it's ASA blue, I'd like most of the colour to be the actual filament colour itself, so blue background. That's just the way I do it. I have messed that up a few times because of that system, doing like yellow in blue and blue in yellow, and just messing it up. You can see like there's a high and low temp error. I wouldn't recommend doing that, that's why there's an error there. So if we make them both ASA, white is going to be my contrasting colour, so you can see it. I mean, it still says yellow. If you look at the objects here, if you just click on the actual object, it'll take you to this yellow one. That's just a description, so that isn't the text that you edit. It's this as the text that you edit. So let me just show you what I mean. So if you right click and edit text, we need this to be blue. And if you just click off it, because sometimes it goes a bit nuts if you don't click off it. If you click on another one of the text labels, for example, click off it, click back on this, and then just move it so it's a bit more central. You'll find if you change the size of the text or the amount of letters, that kind of thing, you just need to recenter and then just click off it again. But what you'll see is, which I didn't notice at first, the text is now above the background, as opposed to these ones here, which are nice and flush. Now, this didn't happen a few weeks ago on the other version of Bambu Studio, but I did find a workaround for it. So if you click back on the object, every time you edit text, let's go to edit this text again, let's say we did red, for example, red, whoops, let's put it in capitals, let's not upset anybody. What you need to do, if you change the size or the text or anything in the text field, before you click off it, just click on cut and then click back off it. Now you'll see you can't actually see this anymore. So what you need to do, click back on the object, click on the edit this text part, but instead of editing the text this time, just right click and change the type back to part, and magically it will now be back and it will be flush with the background. It might be something I'm doing wrong. If I'm misunderstanding something, let me know and I'll redo the video, or at least advise people that I'm being an idiot. But obviously we need this to be blue, so let's change that back. Blue, cut off, back to the text, and this time change the type back to part. Like I say, if I'm doing something wrong, if I'm misunderstanding how this text works, then let me know, and I'm happy to redo the video. But that's a quick workaround anyway. It's important that it's flush, because what I like to do, you don't have to do this, you can print as is, but I like to do Control A and then rotate them 180 and print them face down, because I've got a textured plate and it looks really nice. Just if you look underneath, you should be able to see the text underneath there. Absolutely fine. If you go back to global, the layer height is important, so if you keep it on 0.08, which is part of profile, and then let's slice it. Sync the nozzles. So what you should see is no text when you finish slicing it. If you just check underneath, you will see the text. Click back. So if you should be 6 layers. If you scroll the way back down, you should have text from layer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the last layer should cover the whole text and bond it all together. So what you'll find is if this layer doesn't bond the text together, or if you didn't have that layer, you might peel the filament off the plate or get it off the plate, and the letters won't come with the actual background. So this is just a way to get them all to stick together, and you can print that and clip them onto your filament box. You can print more than one of these at the same time, or different colours and things, but I recommend just sticking to the materials one at a time. I'll just print this together. It takes obviously less than 40 minutes, it's not too bad. And once you've done it, that's it. You've got lovely, lovely filament labels to put on your filament boxes. Any questions, let me know, and if the version changes in the future and it starts behaving strange again, or it might be me behaving strange, I don't know. If it is, let me know and I will try my best to fix it. Okay, so this is future Mafu coming back to realise that not everybody has an AMS unit. So what I've done is uploaded another profile called Labels No AMS. So these ones are embossed labels rather than flat labels. Obviously with these ones you can't rotate them to face down because it wouldn't look right, and obviously the printer wouldn't be capable of that unless you use supports. That's not going to look very good. So what I've done this time in this profile is I've kept 2 filaments in there, but this is really just to show or to detect which layer that the text starts at. So if we slice this now, you can see if you go all the way back to layer 1, if you go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the text starts at layer 7. So if we go back to here, what you need to do is just edit the text as you would normally do, as in the last video. So if you just edit PLA, for example, you can edit PLA, you can do PETG or whatever. Let's just give it PLA for now, but you get the message. You don't have to do anything fancy here unless you wanted to change the size. Just click off that, and obviously delete the labels you don't need. These are just examples. But this time, before you slice, if you just merge this with the existing one, whichever colour you want to print with, and then slice it again. This time you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The text does start at layer 7, but you can't quite see it on the slicer. So if you do actually send this to the printer, and at layer 6, when layer 6 has finished printing, so layer 7 is just about to start, pause the printer, change your filament, and then resume the printer, and you should have lovely embossed labels. And that's pretty much it really. All you need to do then really is look out for the layer height. So this is set at 0.08. You can change it, but I think if you do change it, you might have trouble with fitting the labels on the actual container. Just be careful with that. It might end up that the label's a tiny bit too thick and they won't actually clip on properly. But give it a go, just experiment with it. That's what 3D printing is all about. But that should be all you need for printing without the AMS. Nice, so we're getting somewhere now. Let's put these labels on then. This is really easy. Oh, it should be really easy. Grab your first one, the smallest one, in this case Bambu Labs. I normally just click on left and right, but it doesn't matter. If you put your finger on one side, make sure the label isn't up there or down here. It's right in the, if it's not right in the middle, it might not clip on properly. You might have a tough time. And just click. I missed it. See, I told you it was going to be easy, and it's not. There you go. So we put it in the right place. There we go. The nice click. Click, and that should go all the way to the base. If it's not quite level, you can adjust it slightly. Which way around do I have my colours? So I have the type in the middle usually. Obviously you can put this whichever way around you want. Let's do the right hand side first this time. You can see It's not up there, it's not down there, it's right in the middle, and that should clip down. There we go. You might need to clip both sides. Click, click. Oh, that's a lovely sound. That's a lovely sound. There we go, just straighten it up slightly. Take the colour, blue. There we go, right in the middle. There we go. And we clicked, we're identified. So we're Bambu Lab, ASA, blue. ASA stinks, as we all know, so I don't use it that much. But that's the last one. So let's get a stand printed for it, if that's what you want to do. And we'll see how it goes on, and how the stands go together and stuff. So if you're using the stands, this is how you put them together. Just make sure you've got the opposite sides together. I've just done a video on how to do this and realised I got them together like this. And you don't want to do that, you want them together like that, or obviously depending on how you have them on the shelf, that way around, but just make sure you've got opposite ends together like this. I plan to attach this to another set on this side. And what I tend to do is just make it a pretty sharp bit of filament, so if you cut it at an angle, then shove that into one of the holes. Oh, that's gone in quite nicely. And now just cut it at another sharp angle so that it's no more than 10 millimeters, because that's as far as it will go inside there. And if you use the same end you've just cut off, so it should already be sharp, into the other side, and I'll do the same again, no more than 10 mil. That's probably a bit too short actually, but it'll still do the trick. And if you're using the spacers, you don't have to. I do. I put one on each side. They're quite fiddly, and I have stabbed myself a few times. Yep, that one's gone. So let me find that one later. Get another one, another spacer, and just pop it on. It doesn't matter if you bend them slightly, because they're going to straighten back up anyway. That's gone back on. Doesn't matter if you push it all the way. That'll sort of self-align shortly. Get another spacer for the other side. Sometimes they go on nice and easy. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. And no bloodshed this time either. And then all you need to do, actually I'll turn these upside down, making sure they're opposite sides, so we don't have to do the video all over again. And then just press it together, one side, press it together on the other side. And that's it. They're not going to go anywhere, and the filament boxes will align nicely with those. I'm going to do another one on this side and another one here, just so I can attach them to a row, but I won't show you the same thing again. You can see how simple it is. Just be careful. You might want to use some pliers for gripping, or some gloves or something like that, but make sure you've got your snips, maybe some pliers to hand. There we go. That's it for the stands. Okay, so just wanted to show you the test prints in case you didn't want to print a whole filament box and a lid. So you can basically use these as test pieces. I've just cut a bit of the 2.5 mil rubber tubing, so you can stick that in there. You can test the clip. There we go. Stick that in there. Make sure it fits. You can see from the end there it seals quite nicely. Remove this. I'm not going to test the hydrometer here, but you can see how you can test that if you want to. If you wanted to do the PTFE adapter, make sure it's at a right angle. Just start screwing it in. You'll probably have to use a spanner, which I couldn't find the right size for, or some pliers just to screw that in the rest of the way. If you didn't want to use the PTFE adapter, but you do have the hole there, if you printed that version, you can literally screw the plug in, print one of the plugs and screw it in, and it will just use a Phillips screwdriver. So you can screw that in there, and that's it. Right, just want to show you the bit where I put the filament in the actual box. Nothing too special. There you go. Filament. In it goes. And what I do, I use the Wise Dry reusable silica gel, the 10 gram versions, and you can actually fit a couple in here. That's what I do. One in there, one in there. fits nice in the middle. And then if you realign your label with the other labels, easy peasy. Put it flat, it's a lot easier to do it flat. There we go. Click, squeeze, click, squeeze, click, squeeze, click, and then we're done. Look at that. Just needs a stand. Moment of truth. Here we go. Let's get rid of this empty spool. Let's put our new filament box in place. So what you do is just align where the labels are, that little notch there, and tilt it into place. Ink, done. So if you want to get the next one to it, all you need to do is tilt it forwards, lift it out, and obviously put it back in. Just find out where the labels are, tilt it, click, done. Doesn't that look absolutely wonderful? Brilliant. Okay, that's it. Any questions, let me know, but hopefully you'll be okay with that. That's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.